Alrighty folks, welcome to our free pick video here today for Friday, March 29th, 2024. And I just want to give a big congratulations to all of my chairman members. We had a winning day yesterday and we cashed in on 4 different premium selections. We had Clemson, Pelicans, Orioles, and the Texas Rangers, and they all got the job done. And the only way you could have accessed all of those winners is to join my full access, all-inclusive chairman package. And I'll explain a little bit more about all that at the end of the video. I am currently 5-1 in my last 6 daily best plays, 6-2 in my last 8 crowd pleaser teasers. And finally, folks, I'm 3-0 in my last 3 NBA tier package picks. And the good news is we've got plays going off in all of those packages here today, and they are included with your purchase of the chairman membership. Once again, that site is patreon.com/BrockPage. And with that, folks, we got ourselves a nice full slate of games here today. We're going to break down NBA games. I'm also going to throw in some college basketball and Major League Baseball on a quick pick recap. We're not going to dive into those games, but we are going to give a lean on the side and the total for the entire slate in both of those categories. So got a lot of things to cover. Let's go ahead and dive into it. We're going to start off with the Pistons taking on the Wizards. That's going to be a 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Washington's -4.5, totals 227. And even though the Wizards are favored in this one, I just can't, in good conscience, lay any type of points with them. They're allowing more points per game than any other roster in the league, and they're currently allowing their opponents to make 50% of their field goals against them. Now, when it comes to rebounding the basketball, they're also the worst rebounding team in the game as well. And they're facing a Pistons team who actually loves to get on the scoreboard late. You're probably thinking like, bro, Brock is crazy. Like, what's he talking about? Well, the Pistons actually do a nice job of scoring late in games on the road. These guys are a top 5 let's try that again. These guys are in the top 5 in the East in fourth quarter point production away from home. When it comes to covering the point spread, the Pistons do have a winning record against the number in their travels. Now, more recently, the Pistons did successfully cover the number against the likes of Minnesota, New Orleans, and Miami. And when it comes to the injury list, we got obviously a handful of injuries for Detroit. Combine that with poor play, and that's probably why you're seeing them as the dog in this one. Gibson, Grimes, and Fontecchio are out. Ivy and Cunningham are questionable. But the Wizards on the other side, they're a little banged up too. Holmes, Jones, Shamet, and Omorie, they're all inactive for them. Now, when it comes to the total, I'm not expecting a defensive clinic in this one. Washington saw overs in 5 out of their last 8. Meanwhile, Detroit's currently 20-15 to the over as the official road team. Give me the Pistons +4.5, over 227. All right, next matchup, Warriors, Hornets, 7 o'clock East. Golden State's -12.5, totals 217. Now, I do have concerns about this large number for Golden State. It's a dozen points away from home. They do tend to let that back door open. What I mean by that is, well, Golden State gives up more fourth quarter points than any other roster besides one. Now, more recently, Golden State did fail to cover against the likes of Minnesota, Indiana, and New York. And out of their last 10 meetings with Charlotte, the Warriors covered in only 40% of those games. So if you're into historical trends, you certainly want to think about that one there. And as far as Charlotte's concerned on the other side, well, they are coming fresh off an outright victory over Cleveland, where they actually scored 118 points against one of the toughest defensive teams in the NBA. When it comes to covering the number, well, Charlotte successfully covered recently against the likes of Memphis, Brooklyn, and once again, Cleveland. Now, defensively, a couple of bright areas there that make me think the Hornets can cover. For one, they've played Golden State tough defensively in recent meetings. The Hornets actually held the Warriors to just 108 points a game in their last 10 head-to-head gatherings. And as far as this meeting is concerned, I think an area where Golden State can hurt Charlotte is three-point shooting, the long game. But that's like the only thing Charlotte does well, guard the three ball. The Hornets are in the top 10 in the NBA in defensive three-point percentage at home. So one of the things that, Golden State does well is shoot that three ball. That's like the only thing Charlotte does right. Guard that long-range shot. Now, injury-wise, more bad news for Golden State. Saric and Kuminga are both listed as questionable. You're going to want to keep an eye on them. Plus, I think we're seeing a little bit of trouble in paradise. You saw Steph Curry clearly emotionally distraught at Draymond Green's ejection within, 4 minutes of the game the other night. I think we're seeing not a lot of synergy in that locker room. Now, total-wise, the Warriors did see unders in 3 out of their last 4 ball games. Unders against the likes of Orlando, Miami, and Indiana. They're also 10-4 to the under in their out-of-conference road games. Now, Charlotte saw unders recently against the likes of Orlando, Philadelphia, and Phoenix. And out of their last 10 meetings with Golden State, the under cashed in 90% of those games. Once again, if you're into historical trends, plenty of unders to go around. Give me Charlotte plus 12.5, under 217. Next game, Clippers, Magic, 7 o'clock East. The Clippers are minus 1.5, totals 210. And speaking of the total in this one, the Clippers have seen plenty of unders against their Eastern Conference counterparts. LA is currently 62% to the under in their out-of-conference road games. And more recently, they saw unders against the likes of Atlanta and New Orleans. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, out of Orlando's last 9 outings, they saw the under cash in all of those games except for 2. They're also 67% to the under when hosting Western Conference opponents. Now, when it comes to selecting a winner in this one, this game is being featured as my $1.99 daily best play on my premium site. We already posted this play. I already broke it down in my podcast. So if you sign up for that board member package, you're going to get a full breakdown of that game. But anyway, this game is being featured as my $1.99 daily best play on my premium site. And if you sign up for the daily best play, you're going to get access to that package every single day for the next 30 days. You will receive 1 premium selection of mine per day during that time frame. The math works out to be just 6 cents a day. But as far as making a free pick is concerned, give me the under 210. All right, next contest, Lakers, Pacers, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Indiana's 2.5, totals 242. And speaking of the total in this one, Indy saw overs recently against the likes of the Clippers, Chicago, and this very Laker team. And I'll tell you what, when the Pacers are at the Gainbridge Fieldhouse, well, they've gone 21-15 to the over in front of their own crowd. Meanwhile, the Lakers on the other side, they've seen their fair share of overs themselves. LA's gone 63% to the over against the Eastern Conference this season. And out of 34 contests on the road this year, the over cashed in 65% of those games. Now, when it comes to selecting a winner in this one, I apologize once again. I want to give you as much free content as I can. I really do. But this game is being featured as my NBA tier package pick. But once again, we are 3-0 in our last 3 plays in that package. And if you sign up for that membership here today, you're going to get access to that package every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, you're also going to get access to all of my cheaper memberships during that time frame, absolutely free. They're going to be included with your purchase. I always like to just give you as much value as I can, and I wish I could give you all these games for free. I wish I didn't have to make a dime. I wish I didn't have to pay bills, but unfortunately I do. I would love to give you everything for free so you wouldn't have to pay a dime. But as far as making a free pick is concerned, give me the over 242. All right, next contest, Bulls Nets, 7:30 Eastern start time. Chicago's minus 4.5, totals 214 and a hook. And as bad as the Nets are, well, I'm not sure Chicago's good enough offensively to cover a couple of buckets on the road. They've got a losing record as the road team, and they do have troubles getting on the scoreboard early. Chicago's a bottom 3 point producing team in the first quarter, and a lot of that is due to some poor shooting. These guys are in the bottom 5 in three-pointers made per game. Nikola Vucevic makes just 28% of his three balls. Javon Carter shoots only 38% from the field. And as bad as the Bulls have been at shooting the three-pointer, they've been equally as bad at defending it. Chicago gives up more made three-pointers a game than any other roster except for one. And unfortunately for them, that's actually one of the fewer things Brooklyn actually does right, shooting the long ball. The Nets are 8th in the NBA in three-pointers made per game. And of course, as a team, the Nets are on a 2-game winning streak. And they covered recently against the likes of Toronto, Milwaukee, and Cleveland. Now, defensively, the Nets have had a couple good things to comment on there. Brooklyn's in the top 5 in the East in points allowed per game in the first quarter. When it comes to the injury list, Cam Johnson's inactive for Brooklyn. Julian Phillips inactive for Chicago. When it comes to the total, the Bulls saw unders recently against the likes of the Pacers, Wizards, and Mavericks. They also went 8-2 to the under in their last 10 gatherings with Brooklyn. So once again, if you're into historical trends, plenty of unders to go around. Now for the Nets on the other side, 4 out of their last 7 fell under the total themselves. Give me Brooklyn plus 4.5, under 214 and a hook. Next game, Sixers, Cavaliers, 7:30 Eastern start time. Cleveland's minus 8.5, totals 213. And even though the Sixers haven't been great, well, Cleveland's really kind of hit a bit of a rough patch here themselves. They took the loss in 7 out of their last 10. They now have a losing record against the point spread at home. Now, when it comes to offensive production, the Cavs do tend to slow down late. They're a bottom 5 point producing team in the second half in the East. LeVert and Strus are shooting 41% from the field combined. And leading scorer Donovan Mitchell, he's still day-to-day with that nasal fracture, so keep an eye on him. Now, they're facing a Sixers team who, don't let that recent win-loss record fool you. They've done a nice job covering the number over the past week or so. Philly covered in 5 out of their last 7. They still have a winning record in their in-conference road games this year. Now, when it comes to defensive play, the Sixers are in the top 10 in the NBA in points allowed per game on the road. And Kelly Oubre leads the active roster in steals per game. I don't really know what's going on between the ears there with Kelly Oubre. He's a little bit strange. I think didn't he fake getting hit by a car earlier in the year, or lied about it, or somebody new hit him. I don't know. But Oubre's a weirdo, but he leads the active roster steals per game. I'm a weirdo too. Nothing wrong with that. And of course, Mo Bamba, he's got an iconic American song named after him, thanks to Sheck West, the one-hit wonder. But Mo Bamba's also got the most blocks on the roster for Philadelphia. Now, when it comes to offensive production, nobody's making more free throws a game than Philly. They're doing a terrific job getting to the foul line and making them. Tyrese Maxey drills 87% of his free throws. He is the active roster's points leader. Meanwhile, Tobias Harris, he makes just about 50% of his attempts from the field. Now, injury-wise, Covington, Melton, and Embiid are still out for Philly. Wade and Jerome still inactive for Cleveland. Donovan Mitchell's also day-to-day with a broken nose, as I indicated earlier. And when it comes to the total, the Cavs saw unders recently against the likes of Minnesota, Indiana, and New Orleans. Now, to Philadelphia's last 10 contests, the under cashed in all of those games except for 2. Give me the Sixers plus 8.5, under 213. Next matchup, Knicks, Spurs, 8 o'clock Eastern tip-off. New York's minus 9, totals 212. Now, the Knicks, they've gotten the W in 7 out of their last 8, and they are mighty tough to score against on the road. They're currently in the top 5 in defensive points per game while traveling. And even better, the Knicks are currently the best defensive rebounding team on the road in the NBA. Dante DiVincenzo leads the roster in steals. Isaiah Hartenstein has the most blocks. Meanwhile, on the offensive side of things, the Knicks continue to rebound well on that end of the court. New York's 5th in the NBA in offensive boards per game. All right. And that's certainly bad news for Spurs fans because they can't rebound for shit. San Antonio's in the bottom 5 in the West in defensive boards per game. They're also having a tough time defending shots. They're in the bottom 10 in guarding the field goal, bottom 5 in guarding the 3-ball as well. But it ain't just defensive failure that hurts these guys. There's significant offensive failure with the Spurs as well. San Antonio is currently the worst three-point shooting team in the entire NBA. They actually shoot a league low 34% from three land as a team. And out of 36 ball games in front of their own crowd, the Spurs have yet to reach double-digit wins. Now, injury-wise, Keldon Johnson's questionable with a knee injury. Alec Burks, day-to-day for New York. When it comes to the total, the Knicks saw overs in 4 out of their last 5 ball games. Overs against the likes of Toronto, Detroit, and Denver. And out of their last 10 gatherings with San Antonio, the over cashed in 60% of those contests. Now, the Spurs on the other side, they saw overs recently against the likes of Utah, Phoenix, and Brooklyn. Give me New York -9, over 212. All right, next matchup, Suns, Thunder, 8 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Phoenix is -2, totals 226.5. Now, unfortunately, folks, I apologize about this. It's a shame, but this game's being featured as my extra daily pick on my premium site. I'm sorry about that. I apologize. I wish I could give you everything for free. I wish I didn't have to make a dime to live, but I can't give this one out for free. This game is being featured as my extra daily pick on my premium site. So if you do want to see whether I'm making a play on the money line total or against the point spread in this one, this game's once again being featured as my extra daily pick. I'm sorry, no free pick for you. All right, next matchup, Blazers Heat, 8 o'clock Eastern start time. Miami's -14.5, totals 209 and a hook. And even though the Blazers are pitiful, I'm not sure Miami's good enough offensively to cover this massive number. The Heat makes fewer field goals a game than any other roster except for one. When it comes to fourth quarter scoring, well, they ain't doing good enough. That back door should be open for Portland to walk right through. Miami scoring fewer fourth quarter points than any other roster in the Eastern Conference. And I'll tell you, as solid as the Heat's been on the defensive side of things, there's kind of a dirty little secret that might help out Portland here today. I don't think a lot of people are talking about this. And once again, we're going to go back to some more backdoor talk, Diddy style. But anyway, the Heat, they are currently in the bottom 10 in the NBA in fourth quarter points allowed at home. Okay? And even though Portland does not get on the scoreboard much, don't get me wrong, they do make the most of it when they get to the foul line. Portland's a top 10 free throw shooting team in the entire league. When it comes to defensive play, well, for some reason you can't shoot the long ball against these guys. Portland's got the second lowest defensive three-point percentage on the road in the entire league. But most important, guys, listen to this one here. Portland is one of the better road covering teams in the game. Well, when it comes to out-of-conference opponents. Portland's covered in 70% of their road games against the Eastern Conference this year. I don't know. Big number. That's a pretty good stat. Now, injury-wise, Grant, Ayton, and Thibault are questionable. Kamara, Sharp, Simons, and Brogdon are out. Meanwhile, for Miami on the other side, Hero and Robinson are out for them. When it comes to the total, out of Miami's last 10 ball games, the under cashed in all of them except for 2. Meanwhile, Portland on the other side, they saw unders recently against the likes of Houston, New York, and Boston. It'd be Portland plus 14.5, under 209 and a hook. All right, next matchup should be a good one, at least on paper. Talking about the T-Wolves Nuggets, 9 o'clock East. Denver's -6 at home, totals to 12. And I'll tell you, it's a bit of a chalky play, but I think Denver's the side here. They're 29-7 in the Ball Arena, and they continue to beat up on Minnesota. The Nuggets won 7 out of their last 10 gatherings with the T-Wolves. They shot just about 50% from the field in those games. And I'll tell you, that's pretty consistent with who they are this season. Denver's in the top 3 in field goals made per game. Nikola Jokic leads the roster in scoring, dozen boards a game. Meanwhile, Michael Porter Jr. drills 40% of his attempts from downtown. But I tell you, it ain't just offense in Denver. These guys make it tough to score in their own building. The Nuggets allow just 109 points a night in front of their own fans. And I'll tell you what, point production has been a bit of an issue here this year for Minnesota. They're a bottom 10 point producing team in the fourth quarter. And no real surprise here, the T-Wolves are in the bottom 10 in field goals made per game. Now, injury-wise, Anthony Edwards and Rudy Gobert, they're both questionable. You want to keep an eye on those guys. And, of course, Karl Anthony Towns still out with that knee injury. Now, for Denver on the other side, Zeke Naji, he's been scratched for them. Jamal Murray's also day-to-day. Now, Denver did see unders recently against the likes of the Suns, Mavericks, and Spurs. They're also 14-9 to the under in their in-conference home games. Now, Minnesota on the other side, they saw unders in 4 out of their last 6 themselves. Give me the Nuggets -6, under 212. Next contest, Rockets Jazz, 9:30 p.m. East. Houston's the 8-point favorite away from home, totals 229. Despite their red-hot winning streak right now, I just don't think the Rockets are collectively good enough on the road to take care of this number. It's a pretty big number for a road team in conference game. And I just think the larger sample size, the Rockets on the road just haven't been great. They're 11-24 in their travels this year. And they're still the worst three-point shooting team on the road in the game. Now, once again, you're probably thinking like, Brock, no, their defense. Their defense is really good. And I get that. They are. Not disagreeing with you. But there are a few problem areas that you may want to think about. For one, the Rockets are getting bodied underneath the basket a bit. They're a bottom 10 defensive rebounding team. That's on the defensive end of the court. Bottom 10 in defensive boards. And they're also sending too many people to the foul line. And, their opponents are making them pay. Houston's currently in the bottom 3 in free throws made per game against them. And Utah on the other side loves getting to the stripe. They're the best free throw shooting team in the NBA right now. They're also in the top 3 in offensive rebounds in the West, matching up pretty well here with Houston. John Collins leads the roster in rebounds, 52% shooting from the field. And Lauri Markkanen makes 40% of his three-pointers and leads the roster in scoring. And as bad as Utah's been on defense, they do cover at home, and they do grab defensive boards. They're a top 5 defensive rebounding team in the West. They're currently 22-15 against the number in Salt Lake City. Now, injury-wise, Dunn and Clarkson are out. Johnny Juzang's day-to-day. Meanwhile, for Houston, Sengun, Eason, and Whitmore, they're all still inactive. Now, 7 out of the Rockets' the last 10 ball games did get over the total. They've also had all kinds of problems defending the Jazz recently. They've given up 122 points a game on average in their last 10 meetings with Utah. Now, the Jazz on the other side, they saw overs recently against the likes of the Spurs, Rockets, and Hawks. Give me the Jazz +8 over 229. And with that, folks, we're going to jump into our next and final breakdown for the video. Not our final pick, though, because we're going to go through a quick pick recap in NBA, college basketball, and Major League Baseball. And I would have done NHL, but only one game here today on that slate. So, anyway, final breakdown. Mavs, Kings, 10 o'clock East. Sacramento's -1, totals 230. And speaking of that total, the Kings have seen a good amount of overs in the Gold One Center this year. They are 20-15 to the over on their own court. And in their last 10 gatherings with the Mavs, well, they've shot just 50%. What am I trying to say here? What am I trying to say? This is what I'm trying to say. In their last 10 in Sacramento's last 10 meetings, man, wow, we're closing, man. The closer, Craig Kimbrell, closing. Jeez, I'm closing like Kimbrell did last year. Okay. In Sacramento's last 10 gatherings with the Mavericks, Dallas has shot just about 50% from the field against them. They shot well. As far as the Mavs are concerned, they saw overs recently against the likes of OKC and Detroit. And in addition to my apologies not being able to talk for this game, this is another one. When it comes to selecting a winner, this game is being featured as my chairman package pick. So I can't give you a freebie on the side. Sorry about that. I've got to do a better job. I wish I could give it to you for free. But what I can give you for free is a lean on the total. Give me the over 230. Now with that, folks, we're going to jump into our quick pick recap. Give you the Pistons +4.5, over 227. Hornets +12.5, under 217. I'm 3-0. My last 3 NBA tier package picks on my premium site. The link is in my bio. Under 210 in the Clippers Magic game. Over 242 in the Lakers Pacers game. Brooklyn Nets +4.5, under 214 and a hook. Philadelphia +8.5, under 213. New York Knicks -9, over 212. I have no free pick available for you in the Suns Thunder game. Sorry about that. Portland +14.5, under 209 and a hook. Nuggets -6, under 212. Jazz +8, over 229. Give me the over 230 in the Mavericks Kings game. And with that, we're going to dive into college basketball. I like Marquette -6, over 151. Gonzaga +5, over 154.5. I like the under 135 in the Duke-Houston game. And once again, sorry about that. No free pick available for you in the Creighton-Tennessee game. That's a shame. All right, and then finally, Major League Baseball. Brewers -110, under 7.5. I like the under 7.5 runs in the Braves-Phillies game. Tampa Bay -120, over 8. Pittsburgh +110, under 8 runs. Yankees +115, over 9. Arizona -1.5, over 8 and a hook. Giants +1.5, under 7.5 runs. Cleveland -140, under 7 and a hook. Boston +1.5, under 7. Give me the Dodgers -1.5, over 9. And with that, folks, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on my premium site. Now, if you do end up getting a membership here today on patreon.com/BrockPage, just a friendly reminder, you're going to get access to that membership every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, you're also going to get access to all of my cheaper memberships absolutely free. They're going to be included with your purchase. That's why I always tell folks that Chairman Package, it's a full access, all-inclusive membership. It gives you access to every single premium selection of mine, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, you also get access to my Chairman podcast absolutely free. It's included with your purchase. We already did that podcast. That's been out a couple of hours ago. Nice, bright and early in the morning. Get your premium selections at the ass crack of dawn. Certainly a lot earlier than I give them to you here on YouTube. But anyway, most importantly, I do have to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. I wish I got paid more on YouTube so I wouldn't have to sell my plays. Because like I said, I want to give it all to you for free. I don't want to have to charge you. If I didn't have to make a penny in the game of life, and we could just all live happy and free, I would enjoy that. I don't want your money, but unfortunately, I got to pay bills. So That's why we do it. But anyway, guys, most importantly, happy Friday to you. Best of luck to you. And I do look forward to seeing you later on today on my premium site at patreon.com/BrockPage.